have a question.
Good.
Yes. اللي هو what does BNL mean؟
ما سمعت السؤال حسن.
اللي هو BNL.
البي ان ال profit and loss statement. It's the profit and loss statement. This is very important thing. In fact, I know that accounting courses are really boring,
Yes.
but this is very, 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 very important for you guys. Actuaries is not only linked to mathematics, models, data sciences, AI, and so on. If you would like to understand how insurance is working, you need to know how accounting is done. This is really important because otherwise you will lack something and you will be, let's say, most of the time you will not understand why things are doing like that. When I say P&L and technical results, in fact it's really, really very simple. It's a matter of cash in, cash out. Okay? In fact, in theory, you as an insurance company, you will sell product. So you will receive premium. Okay? In front of this premium, you will build a couple of reserves because there is an inversion of the economic cycle. It's mandatory to build reserve to face future claims. Okay? You will receive claims over time. So premium minus claims, but claims will be absorbed by a delta of reserve. Reserve end of the period minus the reserve beginning of the period will finance the claims. So it's very simple. Premium minus claims plus or minus delta of provision of delta of reserve, it will give you your technical result. And this is really key. If your premium was good and if your reserve was well set up, you will have a null technical reserve. But this case will never happen. Only by hazard. Okay, otherwise you will predict the future and we will not be here. In addition to these technical results, you have what we call the administrative result. What does it mean? It's really, in fact, when you have your premium, a part of this premium will go to finance the expense. We call it the loading. So these loadings are a cash inflow for the insurance company. You deduct from this cash inflow all your expense and will give you your administrative results. So you see, it's a matter of cash in, cash out, and it's a plus and minus at the end. Your technical result plus your administrative results, we need to add your financial results in order to have the gross insurance result. Financial results is when you have a reserve, it's theoretically you will not put it as a cash in the bank, you will invest it. So the investment will give you a return. This return is your financial production. However, in a couple of contracts, the financial production is also shared with the policyholder. So you need to give back the money to your insurer client, and the remaining part will be your financial result, minus the fees of investment. So you have three components of the results. If you sum it, you will have your gross insurance result. On the same thing, if you have a kind of reinsurance transfer, you do the inverse thing in order to have the reinsurance results, and the sum of them, it will give you the net result of the insurance company. And theoretically, the projection over time till an end point in which you will not have any insurance contract in your liability, the projection over time of your net results, the present value of that will give you the value of the insurance company. This is divided by the number of shares. It will give you the theoretical price of the share. If you compare it now to the market price, because this is what we call market consistency embedded value, and this market consistency embedded value is something that in Europe they needs to do it at each reporting period. And I have done a kind of stupid studies in which I see the let's say the publication that has been done by the insurance company, and when it comes to, let's say, a couple of insurance company who has shares in the market, I see the theoretical price comparing it to the market price, and you will have a delta. This delta is explained by multiple things. So whatever the model is, the reality is something else. You see, for example, when it comes to extreme event, most of the time, in fact, extreme event, we need to put on top of that a kind of reinsurance program, because extreme event probability of occurrence is very low. However, the claims is very high. We need to establish a kind of risk transfer program in order to be able to manage the risk, because any risk will cost in capital, and sometimes there is a kind of in between that we need to find. This in between needs to be a win-win between the insurance company and the reinsurance company in order to, let's say, having a kind of good way to transfer the risk. Transfer the risk is not only by reinsurance mechanic, it can be by other mechanics. We can discuss it later, in which you will have a couple of different type of actuarial work, like I don't know if you have heard about longevity bond, mortality bond, cat bonds, in fact, in which the risk is transferred to the financial market and not to reinsurer. So all of these aspects makes the actuarial job really funny, and you will have a lot of things to do instead of having only to compute calculation of premium or reserve, or to calculate capital. So there are a lot of area in which you can play. But don't forget that accounting courses are really important for you. Really. I made the mistake when I was a student. I didn't follow these courses, but after that it cost a lot of time for me to understand how it works. And I have spent, let's say, 2 or 3 years of my time when I was on my first job understanding how accounting is working. So don't forget it. Okay? Any other question?
Mr. Makram, I have one question.
Go ahead, Aziz.
Okay. You've been elaborating upon one idea, which is the actual models does not necessarily reflect the real numbers. That's what you were saying.
It's
But
an
my question
estimation.
is, yeah, yeah. But my question is, if that's true, how can we overcome this phenomenon? How can insurance companies make their approximations more accurate?
Yeah, good question. Very good question. In fact, today in the different regulation we speak about best estimate. What does it mean? It means that the figures we know that they are wrong, but we need to calculate the best estimation. What does it mean? In fact, when it comes to liabilities, it needs to be a kind of market consistent valuation. And there are two ways of doing market consistent valuation. Either mark to market or mark to model. Okay? When it comes to market, it's not really feasible with an insurance liabilities, because it's not like assets which is seen in the market and so on. We use most of the time mark to model approach. What does it mean? We have a model and we have a couple of assumptions. This model needs to reflect the reality of things. So when it comes to, let's say, looking to any risk, we set up a lot of assumption. This assumption can be technical or market assumption. When it comes, for example, to technical assumption, Look, for example, if you would like to feed the mortality risk, we usually build mortality table based on the experience that has been seen on the insured population. So by the way, we collect risk exposure data, we collect the death data, we calibrate the death probability and so on and so far, and we test it. And in fact, when we set up an assumption, it doesn't mean it will be used for a long time. This assumption will be reviewed at each reporting period in order to see how to enhance it. And now, with the availability of data and with all the technology that we have around AI, machine learning, and so on, the precision and the predictivity, I don't know how to say the word, but anyway, you understand me. The fact that our prediction will be better than before, it's really enhanced because we have a lot of techniques that enable us to establish the right assumption for our business and our risk. You see what I mean? So most of the time is a matter of how to calibrate the risk and how to identify the data to calibrate this risk, what will be the right model for that, and you continuously adjust your assumption accordingly to the experience that you have had. At the beginning, you will use your own data. However, tomorrow there are a lot of other data that comes from the industry. You can use it. It will enhance your prediction. Your models that you use in order to predict, I don't know, I take the example of mortality risk, can be changed over time because the AI techniques, machine learnings, and so on will enhance this kind of prediction. But we know from the beginning it's an estimation. That's why you have a review, you have audit, and so on and so far. You see, it's not really kind of estimates that by definition and by construction there is a mistake. We need to minimize this error and manage it over time.
Thank you, Mr. I think Anas have a question, but he does not. He can I read his question for you?
Yeah, of course.
He's saying that we took financial and managerial accounting courses in university. Should we take more courses, or should we know more than that, or is it enough?
It's really up to you. If you can do more, you can do more. For example, I don't know what type of accounting courses you are doing, but for example, today there is a kind of big transformation of the accounting side with IFRS. If you can read papers around IFRS 17, around IFRS 9, and so on, understand how it works, it will be good for you because it's really something completely different from local GAAP. We can have the let's say specific courses for that. I will be more than happy to share with you my knowledge around this kind of thing, and we can program it in the common occasion. But it's not sufficient to see only the courses. No? You need to read, you need to explore more information, you need maybe to have to take any possibility in which you can do real job with companies, internship or something like that. يعني
Yeah.
تربص في شركات التأمين وأيضا جميع الدورات التكوينية اللي تقدروا تلقاوها على الماركت بتاعكم، وحتى الدورات التكوينية inline يعني يمكن تكون مفيدة ومفيدة جدا ليكم عشان تقدروا تعملوا البروجيكشن in your next job. You see, something else really important. It's really important to be able to have the facility of coding. Most of the thing is done today under open source software, so Python, R, Julia. However, there are a lot of new platforms that are really close to Actuaries, which are, let's say, low code or no code, like Dataiku, Databricks, Alteryx, Palantir, and so on and so far. This is really important to be able to use this kind of tools and being able to apply what you have seen in your theoretical courses by doing complementation and so on and so forth. So for example, if you have a courses on the PNC pricing, don't stay at the mathematical resolution of the way you need to calibrate things but simulate fake data, dummy data, implement JLM in order to see how it would be implemented and see the results. There are a lot of libraries that are available. If you go to R, you have the actuary package that has a lot of functionality. If you go to Julia, also there is something. If you go to Python, there are something. For example, we speak about reserving in PNC. All the methods that you have seen theoretically exist also in a couple of packages. So don't hesitate to go and to implement. And at the end, you can also build your own engine when it comes to reserving, pricing, IFRS, so on, capital calculation, and so on. You know, for example, the society called Accurate, they have only played with JLM and GAM models. They prepare the kind of tool which is, let's say, low code because you don't implement, you only configure with a kind of interface, and now it's a big company that is selling this tool to the insurance company. So you can build, based on your theoretical background, you can build a lot of things and you can play a role in your industry, because I know in this market there are a lack of tools and you have the place to do, even from now. You see, even from now, being able to understand the methodology and apply it, design a good algorithm which can be flexible enough, and build your own application. You can learn more than seeing theoretical courses, you see.